All right, so what we're looking at today is continuing our geometry is we're looking at the area. Remember when we first talked about, we talked about perimeter being the distance around a shape. Well, area is the inside part of the shape. So what you're going to have, and that's kind of weird, but you will have a formula sheet. Now what I've done, your formula sheet will have more on it than what I have put here, but I have on here a rectangle, a parallelogram, and a triangle, and I made sure I used the column that has the area formulas. So these ones we have to use formulas for to get the value inside the shape. So again, I've started with steps. And first of all, it says, number one, determine which shape you have. Okay, so that makes sense. And then look at the formula sheet. So make sure you're going back to see which shape you have from the formula sheet. Okay, and then the second part is make sure you have the measurements you need. Okay, remember when we did perimeter, sometimes we were missing things. So let's take a look at the first one. Okay, and that's the shape. Oops, sorry. That's this shape here. And I have to determine what shape it is. Well, I can see it's four-sided, but it sure doesn't look like a rectangle because it's on a slant. So I'm just going to take a look here. Oh, that looks really close to what this is. And so the thing is with geometry, feel free to turn your page. Now, obviously, you can't turn your picture like that, but you always can turn the page in order to find what the shape looks like sometimes. So in order to find the area of this shape, which is a parallelogram, if I look at the formula, it says that I need a base and a height. And what's different here is here's the height, and if you notice, it has a right angle. Okay, so it has to be a perpendicular height. So I'm going to start with my formula. So area equals the base times the height. Well, first of all, let's see, do we have that information? Well, I do have the height. There's that little right angle thing. So I know that that is going to be 8. So I'm going to put that in there. And I'll maybe actually just put an arrow there. And base. Well, if I look at the picture, the base is here. But my diagram doesn't have it there. Mine has it at the top. But guess what? That is the same as if I had did it on the bottom. You can see I just moved the whole shape so you can see that it did fit on top of it. So even though it's on the top, it's still the same length as the base I want. So that is going to go in here. So again, it's just substituting numbers in. So I end up with 15 times 8. And 15 times 8, again, if you don't know that, which most people don't know their 15 times table, and even if you know your 8, probably not up to 15. So that's 120, and it's inches, but what's different about area is it's not just inches, it's inches squared. So I have to make sure that I put a square there. Okay, now let's go and do another one. So if we look at this one over here, first of all, I have to identify what shape is that. So I'm going to take it up here. What shape are you? And obviously it's a triangle. So I'm going to key, here it is here. So to have a triangle, I need to look at the formula. It says I need the base, which I think I have, which is the 14, and I need the height. Again, notice it's a perpendicular height, and you can see there's that perpendicular, that right angle that tells me it's perpendicular. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my triangle back to where I had it, after I get rid of all the writing that I did on top of it, and do the calculations. So we know everything we want. We know all the measurements we need. So now it's going to be area equals. Notice there's two formulas. I'm going to use the base times the height, and then I'm going to divide it by 2. Okay, and that's the same as putting it over 2. So either way you can do it. So if I substitute in my numbers, I have 14 is my base, my height is 5, and I'm going to divide it by 2. Okay, again, I'm going to take out my calculator, and I'm going to end up with 35, and this time I don't know what my units are, so I'm going to put units, and remember it's squared because it's area. And last one, maybe the easiest one, or at least the one that you've seen for a long time. This time I have, it looks like a rectangle, it is a rectangle. So the area of a rectangle, if I've forgotten it, I go up here and it says that it is area equals length times width. Okay, so my next step was, do I have everything I need? Well, I have the length is 8 and I have the width, which is 4. So it's just 8 times 4, and that is 32. And this time they did give me units, so it's 32 centimeters squared.